Everything away, but not my tea. Okay, actually, now we are now officially live. Um, so, welcome to the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. It is, let's see, shit, I'm doing this on the fly now. March 30th at noon. This is the TattooNOW show with special guest Sean O'Hara. It's amazing. It's crazy. He's one of the original partners, one of the original founders, like back in the 90s. So we are going to talk about, 90s New England tattooing, some of the early tech. Of course, there's been like 25, almost 30 years in there since I've known him. So we'll see how much we could cover in 45 minutes to an hour, I suppose. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about the Reinventing Network while this is working throughout the networks. If you could let me know if this is working for you in the chat rooms, tag a friend who might be interested in tattoos, or sorry, yeah, I don't know, I don't have my script up here. Tag a friend who's interested in tattoos, let us know where you are beaming in from, and then we'll know that it's working and going around in the sphere here. It looks like we are working on the YouTube channel, so this is going out on the Reinventing the Tattoo YouTube channel. It is also going out on the TattooNOW YouTube channel. Okay, so yeah, like I said, let us know. It looks like there's some people. Hey, Sean, how are you? Or Sean Collins, you're in the chat room. Nice catching up. The Facebook is, I think I'm only going out on one Facebook. See, this is why we actually do these tests. And you might be watching on a replay or a podcast in any of those spots. You might also be watching on the Roku. It's pretty crazy. That's also a replay. But one way or another, the latest and greatest information about Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Network and community can always be found at, you guessed it, reinventingthetattoo.com. And of course, there's like I said, there's the Instagrams and the Facebooks and all of the other social medias, but the reinventingthetattoo.com will always have the latest links to the professional development, to these live streams, to the replays and all of that. Okay, Guy Aitchison's, this reinventing community is where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join into these live streams, to watch the replays, to share with each other, to inspire each other, and ultimately to create better art and tattoos together. And we beam out nearly every single day. So this is actually kind of like a network of awesome tattoo TV shows. You could, the last thing I didn't mention is that we are in the app stores. So if you go do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo in either of the app stores, that would be awesome to give them a download. We have weekly events that include drawing groups. So the Reinventing drawing groups are where artists are encouraged to beam in and talk with other tattooers from around the world while you're doing either your tattoo homework or your apprentice homework, whatever drawing you might want to do. They happen at 1 p.m. Sundays. This is Eastern Standard, 1 p.m. Sundays with Jason Leeser. They happen 10 a.m. on Tuesdays with Ricardo. Then Mondays at 11 o'clock is the Tattoo Weekly. Sean was actually on the Tattoo Weekly a couple of weeks ago. And let's see, so we have Lauren, and then Jake and I will cover some events that happened previously or some upcoming events, and then do some interviews. And Sean was talking about NFTs and his project. So if you're interested in NFTs and how they could work for tattoo shops or you're a tattoo client from the New England area, then you should, check it out. Let's see, subscriber exercises happen Monday at 9 p.m. I'll talk about the subscribers in a little bit in our sponsors section. Those are exclusive for people that, the apprentices and artists that are members of the Reinventing the Tattoo curriculums. Wednesdays, 12 noon, TattooNOW show. Actually, we're shifting that over to 1 p.m. I'm going to change that in the script right now. Sorry, doing edits on the fly here. And then Thursdays at 12 noon is a tattoo collecting podcast. They are rumored to be moving to 6 p.m., but I don't know when that's starting. Okay. Real world events. April 11th to the 14th is an inspiring tour in New Hampshire with Sean Barber and Nick Baxter. It's inspiring.tours, Tours, is the website. It's actually only .com that I've got, I think, that I use. And it's pretty cool. It's going to be the 4 days where those guys are teaching, and then they're doing a collaborative tattoo on the 13th. And I think that the client had to just back out. So if you're interested in getting a collaborative tattoo from Sean Barber and Nick Baxter, man, it's going to be amazing. Then get in touch. Let's see, Gabe at TattooNOW.com. we'll get you in touch with me directly, and we'll figure out the details from there. If you're interested, that's April 13th. Anyways, okay, May 20th to the 22nd is the Hell City Tattoo Festival in Columbus, Ohio, hellcity.com. We'll have a big reinventing room. Just about to get the schedule for the seminar room up for that. June 10th to the 12th is Ink Mania down in Tampa. Oh, St. Pete, excuse me, but it's near the Dolly. It's right near the Dolly Museum. I think actually, I don't think there is going to be a Best Dolly Tattoo Award in that show. That's Ink Mania. That's June 10th to the 12th. Phil Holt and Stefano will be there in person doing some seminars with us. A guy will be beaming in. Frank Bonaccio's going to be there doing some seminars. Anyways, a reinventing booth, interviews, all that stuff. July 29th to the 31st is the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational in Akron, Ohio with Tony Urbanek, and we will be setting up reinventing there too. Let's see, August. There's other shows that are planned. August, I think, is Hell City, Arizona. October, Richmond, I think. So anyways, you can check out all of our events and whatnot if you get on our mailing lists and whatnot. Wonder if this is okay. It looks like this is still working. Okay, this is great. Give it 2 more minutes, Sean. I swear I'll be right back, or I'll be right here. Okay. These shows, all the Reinventing the Tattoo Now, all the Reinventing the Tattoo Network shows are brought to you by our sponsors. Thank you very much. They help us do these things. Raw Pigments is rawpigments.co is their website. They are acrylic-free inks that don't dry out in the cup. And yeah, you can often get some like samples and whatnot if you hit up Lauren, but either way, it's worth buying them, trying them out if you're in the mood to sample different inks at the moment. WorldTattooEvents.com is the most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. It takes a lot to say that because I like running websites, but I couldn't even copy the info like 10 years ago, or maybe longer. I tried for like a day or two, and I was like, oh man, Alex is a maniac with updating tattoo conventions. He also does interviews, so you can check him out. The history of tattoo conventions and the future of tattoo conventions. We're going to talk tattoo conventions in the 90s with Sean. I'm pretty excited. Okay, D-Lize Pro is known worldwide as Dermalize, Alex DePace's healing wrap solution. If you're still using saran wrap and walking up the door, your client's walking out, just know it doesn't breathe. Dermalize is breathable so that it lets all the good stuff through to heal the tattoos, but none of the gunk. Again, there's tons of videos with tattooers. Do a search for Dermalize or D-Lize Pro. The United States has a different name thanks to international copyright stuff. Okay, TattooNOW, I do computer stuff for tattooers. Won't talk about that much now because we might touch on that in the interview here because Sean was original partner in all the computer geeky shit way back then. And then Guy Aitchison, GuyAitchison.com founded Reinventing the Tattoo. Is the main author. He has a lot of guests come in and is the reason why Reinventing exists, why we're here inspiring each other. Check it out, GuyAitchison.com. He's got original paintings. He has prints, tattoo machines, all that stuff. If you're interested in hosting a Reinventing event or sponsoring these network shows, then get in touch, management at reinventingthetattoo.com. You can send us constructive criticism or critiques there, all the positive comments, please, in those channels that we mentioned earlier, because that's what helps it grow. Okay, this is crazy. So instead of hopping in the back now, which is what I prefer to do, I'm going to be bringing Sean on. Sean already on? Sean is already on. How are you?
I'm on.
Okay. Whew. Thanks for coming on. This is going to be fun. It was great to talk the other Monday.
It was it's a long time coming,
Absolutely. And like I said earlier, and I think somewhere else, you are the person in the tattoo world that I have known the longest still. I think that you did my third tattoo. And I'm trying to think do you remember when you first tattooed me? Was it 93, 94?
I think it was before that.
It might have been.
But I don't, the years get fuzzy.
It gets wicked fuzzy. I graduated in 92, so.
People ask me all the time, like, oh, when did you open Darkside? 93, 92, 94? I don't really, early 90s?
Early 90s, there we go, awesome.
But it was before then that I met you.
It was before Darkside, yeah. Like I said, I think it was Dragon's Lair in West Haven. So I remember, let's see, it was Gargantua Soul. My buddy Brendan Keefe was in a band. I got some crappy tattoos, adequate-ish at best tattoos. Papillons, I got the dove at first, right? Because I couldn't afford the parrot. And then, but that guy didn't care that I was underage. And then there was a tattoo shop that had popped up in between my walk to work to the restaurant. And I was like, oh, well, of course I should be getting, a tattoo because a tattoo shop popped up right here.
Right.
And then I swore that the feathers were like out of whack or whatever. But it was like, but it's a tattoo. It's got to be perfect. I like almost didn't believe, like before my very eyes, the tattoo was fucked up. And until a lot of people were like, wow, that's a big fucked up tattoo. I was like, oh shit. But then I hunted down good tattooers, and you were tattooing Chris Keys from Gargantua Soul, doing all those crazy comic characters on his back, all the color work. And yeah, that's what brought me out there. So I guess, but let's starting there then. Fuck it. Let's just do origin. I mean, because this is, Tattoo Now show, might as well let's just start right back and lay down some history while as you were saying, it's fuzzy at best already. So might as well as talk about it and see if it sounds the same to us in 10 years when we're watching it.
Right. We'll probably be like, wow, I don't even remember that in 10 years, but it's worth a shot now.
Perfect.
So I do know that I started tattooing in '89, only because I know that I was 18 when I got my first tattoo, which was like December maybe of '88. And then I got some tattoo equipment, decided to start tattooing friends.
But what was that first tattoo?
What was it?
Yeah.
It was a rose on my shoulder done by the famous Spider Webb.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Who was not, I can't really say a mentor because I mean, I didn't actually apprentice for anybody. But he's the guy that definitely like taught me the most and intrigued me into this business.
That's awesome. I didn't realize, if I did realize that, I didn't remember that.
We don't remember it now.
But he did your first tattoo?
What?
And he did your first tattoo?
He did my first few tattoos.
Okay. And you sought him out, or like, what was your first? I guess how was this discovery?
Kind of like you with your experience. I would just turned 18, and a buddy of mine were driving from where we lived in Cheshire, Connecticut to Middlebury, maybe, to get car insurance. And we drove through Derby, and Spiderweb shop was in Derby, and it was from the outside like this very mystical looking place. He had all these Elvis head busts in the window that were all painted like different, like one like a devil and one like a monster and one like Frankenstein and whatever. And I was like, wow, we should check that place out on the way back, and we did. We hadn't slept. We were sober, but we hadn't slept all night because we had to be at this place at like 8 a.m. And and we stopped in and got tattooed, and then the rest is kind of history. So yeah, I think I got involved in the tattoo industry due to sleep deprivation being the
nice. Awesome. Very fun.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so that's when you started getting, now were you drawing at the time? So this is like high school. So like, were you doing like high school?
So I was just out of high school. So I was always a doodler in high school. I was always the kid that drew all over the desk and got in trouble, or drew like all over like the textbook and hey, you can't draw on the textbook, but I just couldn't stop. But I never planned on doing art as a profession. That much I know. It was just always something that was there, but it just kind of evolved to this,
Sure. Yeah, sure. It's crazy, huh? It's amazing how tattooing like really can, catch you pretty good and pretty young too. Although I suppose these days maybe not quite as young. It's not it's a world of difference, huh?
Yeah.
So now how did that transition go from being collecting tattoos with Spiderweb to I guess you just starting to tattoo. Clearly, you didn't get the apprenticeship, like I said.
So I had acquired some tattoo equipment on a whim, and
but did you have a job, or what was your job?
So I was in business school. My plans were to work for like United Technologies as an aerospace engineer or something in that field, which I was like driven towards. That never happened. So I got this tattoo equipment, right, and I'm tattooing friends, and it's a really funny story. So I go into this gas station that I went into regularly, to stop for gas, coffee, cigarettes, whatever. And the kid behind the counter says, "Hey man, I got you a job at the tattoo shop down the street." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, I seen you've been tattooing your friends. Like I told the guy comes in here and I told him about you, and he's like, yeah, I'll hire him." I was like, "Wait, I don't want a job as a tat. What are you talking about?" Long story short, I met the guy. We became like best friends overnight, and the rest is history. We like partnered up, and that was Dragon's Lair. It was State Street in Hamden. Dave Swart was my my first partner and buddy in this industry, and we're still friends, which is cool.
Awesome. Hell yeah. And then, and Chris was right down the street too there. Was that, he was at the
Harrison?
same time? Yeah.
Yeah, Chris. For those that don't know, Chris passed away a couple years ago.
Oh, rough.
Yeah. So Chris and I have been kind of like best friends, and at times distant best friends since then. And he lived
Sure.
down the street. We were buddies, and he would hang out there. And then he started tattooing a couple years after, with Dave, who was my partner.
That's, yeah, I kind of remember that's, you know, how I knew him, you know.
Yeah.
It's rough. I knew that we were going to cross a couple of, you know, people that have, you know, passed.
So we
died,
lost.
and
Yeah.
it's, you know, I didn't see, I don't know if there's pictures of Budsy there and the ones that you sent over, but we've got some pictures to fire up. Actually, I guess.
Yeah, there may be.
Yeah. Next question, I'll fire them up in the background for people. Because I think there's some from like from the second Hell City. I don't know, it's pretty cool. But so, okay, so, but rolling back though, Hamden, and then, yeah, so I guess I think that came out to West Haven then, right? So you guys opened up a shop in West Haven or something, and that's
so Dave and I had you know, some transitions. The shop split to two shops in Milford and West Haven, and I was running the West Haven shop, and that was it was kind of up and down. I left there soon after. I mean, we were young and not really great at business management and all that. We just, you know, wanted to tattoo. You know, and that's soon after I met you. I was in transition between the Dragon's Lair shop and the time that I opened Dark Side, and I met you and tattooed you, I think probably in my kitchen.
Oh yeah, you know, I think that was one of those, like, sometimes I do have a little bit of a higher tolerance of the, you know, odd experiences, you know, right? Like, you know, going into the, you know, met you at a shop, you know, the first time when,
yes,
you know, Brendan and I went down, but then, like, yeah, you know, let's just go to my house, you know, that's cool, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess that's cool. Yeah. Okay. And, you know, but, you know, whatever, you know, part of it was there were not tons of options, and the last two people, you know, were not recommended by somebody that I trusted,
right.
And I didn't see any good work coming out of them. So, you know, but it wasn't long. It was like maybe one tattoo there, and then you had Fairhaven.
Fairhaven Avenue. Yeah.
Fairhaven Avenue.
Yeah.
That was the bathroom. That, like the cave. It was like a cave.
Yeah, that shop was like a cave. So one day I was still working out of this apartment, wondering how I'm going to move forward, right? And a good friend of mine, John Aponte, I'll never forget him. He showed up to my apartment with keys and said, "I got you something." And I said, "What'd you get me?" And he said, "I got you a tattoo shop." And paid the first month's rent. I turned the electricity and the phone on, and here you go. You know, and that's what a blessing, you know, to have friends like that in my life. And we started construction, man, and me and my friend Steve at the time helped me build it. And then Adrian Stock, who just actually started tattooing again, was my first apprentice and first helper. And it grew from there, man. And
awesome.
You know,
I remember Adrian way back. That was he was always big, and
yeah. The Wookiee.
I'm having a hard time getting these pictures to. How did you attach these? I've got them here, but none of them will. Well,
I don't know. I just attached them to an email. I mean, they are ancient pictures.
Yeah, well, I'll figure it out here.
Pictures.
But
all right, so while you do that, I'll tell more stories.
Yeah. So the first, the first couple of Dark Sides, what were the clients like? Because you were, you know, clearly you were already attracting people that were looking for good tattoos.
Right. So when we first opened, you know, when I first got into this industry, the clientele were not too different from what you have today, but of course it wasn't such an accepted art form and part of society, you know. So you know you had like obviously like young adults, but more the outcasts, right? And you know you had you know it was a biker thing. It was I mean, it was a little all walks of life. I don't want to single anyone out, but it was definitely very different. And as time went on and the shop grew, and very quickly, right, we took on a lot of friends, young artists, who brought in their own brand of clientele, and it, you know, and it kind of expanded from there. You know, it was definitely, you know, we were all young. We were all like, I mean, I remember when Eric Merrill started working for me, I don't know if he was just maybe 18, 19 years old, and a, you know, skateboard kid, and was like the piercer actually. And then, you know, so it was all his friends that came. You know, Lou Jacques started working there early on in Farron Avenue, and he was from the New Britain area. So there was a lot of guys coming down from around then. George Carter, who had a shop in Wallingford, came down, and you know, and so the clientele grew and the family grew. And then and then you know, you and I got to talking about computer stuff. So I had a computer background. I grew up as a computer nerd, and you know, I had a computer in the shop that we used for, I mean, back then I think Photoshop was in its infancy, but we were still using it for, you know, like making stencils and putting designs together. And
Yeah.
people would come into the shop, like customers, and be like, what on earth is that thing? You know, I'm like, oh, it's, what do you mean? It's a computer. And they'd be like, what is a computer? You know, it was very weird. Like people, you
Oh.
know, like other artists would stop by, like, wow, you guys got a computer in here?
I remember, like, I mean, it would be flash forward a couple of years, but when laying out my back piece on Photoshop for the first
Yeah,
time, and like getting the opacity, it was like we could just start playing with opacities.
right.
But some of the computer stuff. So what kind of computers? So talk about that just a little bit, right? Because that's obviously a key part of what, you know, your successes were and are, and mixed with, you know, a lot of the other elements. But like, so what kind of computer experience? Like you said, you were a businessy guy. Did you have any programming experience? I kind of think.
So I had, so my father had worked for IBM when I was a kid,
Right.
systems analyst and programmer, and then branched off to his own business. So I grew up in a home with computers in every room. You know, his home became a home office, and you know, and as a kid, I would be like, you know, programming like little quick video games, and making like computer sprites and whatnot on graph paper that I would, you know, program in, and you know, and learned a little bit about it then, and it always, I always saw the practical use for having a computer in a business, or in any sense. And you know, and obviously now we see that with, you know, your cell phone is basically a little handheld computer that you use for everything. And
We
I
used to
think maybe we
charge
use it
fucking
too much, but
$25,000 for that shit.
yeah, yeah.
That was crazy. I mean, I guess they charge 1,000 for it now, but then they cut it into these little bite-sized pieces that you barely notice, so they just keep sucking the money out of you. Anyways,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes, they do.
That was pretty amazing. You know, I do have. I'm just gonna share this whole page here. It's kind of like a contact page, and there's a couple people chatting in the chat room. Somebody's asking some questions about stuff. We will answer some questions for sure. But so it's hard.
Oh,
I
there's
don't
some
know.
old pictures.
Yeah.
There's some old pictures.
I appreciate that you sent them. It was, I knew that it was kind of last minute, but
Yes, it was very last minute, but I knew where they were, so that
Awesome.
was pretty. It was easy on my part, much more difficult on yours.
Nice. Well, look at this. So this is, I remember this tiki. So is this, do you remember this party? Was this just our
this
convention?
is all right. So let's talk. Let's just give it a little background on
Yeah.
what that tiki is, because it's kind of an important thing in your and mine history. So back in the, I don't know what the year was, but you and I got together and decided to form a multimedia business geared towards tattoo shops and tattoo conventions in the tattoo world. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I was excited to do that with you. You and I always hit it off great. And strange enough, like at that time, I'll never forget, like the Connecticut website, right, was ctnow.com.
Yeah.
And I would see these billboards all over the place, right? Like CT Now this and CT Now that, and it became like a household name in this state. And I remember saying to you, like, so I just bought this web name, TattooNOW.com, and you were like, I love that. And I didn't know you would love that, but I was like, you do? And you're like, yes, I love that. And look what it's become, man. I'm so happy that it's grown and you've stuck with it and really made it into something that, you know, is synonymous with this industry.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it. And well, obviously it was the, you know, the formative years there, and it's amazing. And I'm happy that that came up because, of course, you know, you registered it right then and there for, you know, back in the very beginning. And
yeah,
it's a real good find. And every once in a while when I catch good finds, you know, I do think about that too. Tattoos.com. I shouldn't even say it here, but it is now available.
Yeah.
But, you know, I did inquire about the price, and it was just like, I know. I mean, a Tattoo Now's got its own special. I mean, at this point, you know, as you know, it's a spirit that, you know, it has a life of its own, for better or worse. I mean, I don't know how many times it's been tried to, you know, we've tried to kill it, you know, but it's like,
yeah, you can't keep it
you know,
down.
it's like every once in a while, it's like, for me, you know, probably twice, I think it's probably saved my ass. And I'm like, okay. And that's pretty cool. We're working on it still. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, there's like 3 or 4 things that that we have that we're working on with some new clients, and yeah, some more new people. It's pretty fun. So it's, you know, it's fun to see how it persists. You know, longevity is clearly part of the tattoo ethos, you know.
Right.
So but yeah, so let's get back to the
Yes.
the
Tiki. We didn't.
I guess was it Tiki? Was the website before the Tiki? I guess the website might have been before
the
Tiki.
website might have been before the Tiki, but the Tiki is kind of
yeah, it's pretty nuts.
You know, it was fun because at the time, no one had experienced touchscreen interactivity with a computer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you and I were making touchscreen iMacs, and we decided to make this enormous fiberglass kiosk, right? That you could view tattoo portfolios and interactive games and all that stuff, and
swipe left and right.
Yeah, and it was
the games,
and you could touch it, and people are always like, "Oh, where's the mouse?" And I'm like, "Well, you just touch it." And they're like, "What do you mean you touch it?" You know, and now like you just sit there and touch your phone, you know. But back then you couldn't touch a screen and have any interactivity with it, and it, you know, it was pretty state of the art. It was definitely fun.
Yeah, it was nuts. Like I said, we would charge, you know, buku bucks, crazy bucks. Yeah. Oh, there it is. I remember.
There's a good shot of it. Yeah, we made that in my garage. Me and a whole bunch of us got together and with chicken wire and fiberglass and spray paint and all that.
That was nuts. I remember I kind of, you know, I knew what we were kind of doing, and I heard what you were saying with the Tiki, but then when I came down and I saw you put this fucking thing together, I was like, holy shit. Yeah. And then you packed this up and we brought it out to Hell City, right?
We brought it out to the first Hell City, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Was it the first or was it the second? It was first or second?
I think it might have been the first, or I don't know. It was one of the first few.
It was definitely one of the first few. Because I think you guys went out the first time, and I missed that one. And then, but then you.
And we put it on my pickup truck and drove it out there. Yeah,
that was nuts.
It was pretty nuts. So these pictures you're showing, just to like give the people who are looking what they are.
I'll start back at the top.
Back in the 90s, maybe there was a shop called Wizards Advanced Tattooing, owned by Mike Fitz and a couple other guys. And they put on like the first Connecticut convention back then. And a lot of these shots are from you know, from those early days. And then we put on a second one, and we had you know, we had some great turnout. We had some great artists. Guy Atchison was there. Joe Capianco was there. There was a lot of guys that came. Corey Kruger, Martin Lancaster, I see in the picture. You know, a lot of guys that were instrumental to getting this industry mainstream. We're all a part of that, and you know, it was fun to also be a part of that and to watch this industry grow. You know, when I first started tattooing, I will tell you it wasn't an art so much as it was like a trade, you know, like an electrician or a plumber, or, you know, and you had pictures all over the walls of images that you probably couldn't draw on your own, but you could reproduce. and that was it. And you know, one thing that Spider Web I got from him was he was an artist, you know, and he didn't have flash all over his shop. And you came to him with an idea, and he turned that idea into a tattoo. And 30 years ago, it was a simple tattoo, but it, you know, it was still a custom thing. And to watch this industry, you know, become that, and to be a part of that, you know, is really awesome. There's a guy there tattooing Eric's foot, probably. It's kind of cool to see these old pictures. Just in Weatherholtz, maybe up there.
Yeah, that's just in Weatherholtz there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, these are
wicked old dark side banner. What was the Derb here? We got
yeah.
Back in the day. Yeah. Fucking this is a fun one. We got I guess we should be asking people to comment in the comments.
In the back. Yeah, Gunner's in there.
Yeah, Gunner's Justin again. Joey Apps.
Joey Apps, yeah.
I see him sometimes on the Facebooks these days.
Yeah. And it's you know, it's pretty cool to have, you know, Facebook and interact with a lot of the guys we're mentioning that, you know, we've all gotten older, and Jimmy Litwalk.
Yeah,
in that picture there.
Tom Renshaw.
Yeah, and Tom Renshaw. You know,
that's Julio,
these guys early development and to still all be in it, you know, it's kind of cool.
100%. Yeah, agreed wholeheartedly. It's fun. Yeah, and you know, it is the social media does have a place. You know, it does connect people despite you know.
Albie Rock.
Yeah, old Albie. Yeah. Chris Dingwell. See him over at Hull City coming up. There's another old Joe.
Yeah. You know, so anyway, so you know, you and I definitely went some places and got involved with a lot of this stuff and met a lot of great people. You know, I'm glad that we were able to introduce computer technology to this industry back then. You know, because no one was doing it. You know, and Joe Capabianco definitely helped us out a lot, and you know, and got our name out there. Philadelphia Eddie.
I remember that. I mean, I don't remember Joe getting the guy tattoo. He got to, I think he went down to somewhere down south to get tattooed.
That was at one of the Philly conventions.
Yeah. Was there one of the shows that somebody died in one of those years?
Yes, someone died in one of those shows. Drug overdose in a hotel room.
No bueno. Let me I guess we'll hit a couple more of these, then we'll move on to another topic, and then maybe get back. But these are all pretty amazing. The trip down memory lane here, huh?
The trip down memory lane.
But you're right, like the computer stuff, this was, you know, of the time, you know, Damien had registered tattoos.com, and I think there was Shannon who had the BME zine.
There you are.
You know, but
you and Kim?
No shit, yeah, there's me and Kim. That's fun. Where's any idea where that might be? My wife. Oh, I gotta save that. Damn.
No idea.
Leather shirt.
It might be a Connecticut show because there's Chris Harris.
There's Chris right there. Yeah.
Passed away, and that's Mike Fitz down below on the left there. So if those must be a Connecticut show.
I bet it's like the Connecticut show, maybe.
Yeah, all those guys were at that show. You know.
Was Guy at that show? Is that the one that Guy was?
Guy was at the second one.
Okay.
The first one we did was in like a small hotel, like convention area, and the second one we did was at the Webster Theater in Hartford.
Webster, yeah.
And that's the one the Guy was at.
Oh, I can't. That's fucking crazy. I was there. It's funny that I never said hi or caught up with him.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, there's my back.
There's your back. The very first.
No, it's still in there.
It's still in there. It's in there.
It's fun. Yeah. Like this shit.
But yeah, it's definitely pretty cool to, you know, and then to have
Tony Ciavaro back in the day.
To have come through all this and be able to look out on it and you know, it's great. I'm just happy that there you are again.
Yeah, there's another one. Is that a dark side, or is it still the show?
That's that show.
It can't be that show, or that other show. It's got to be different because I had a.
You have a beard. Yeah. Well, your facial hair grows really quick. So it could have just been the next day.
Oh. Waited 3 hours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Zam. Yeah, shit. Cray. Yeah. Well, we're almost through the run here. So what time is it? We got oh shit. Okay, well let's 'cause we definitely want to catch up. It's been a ride since then, so we
It
can,
has.
maybe we'll talk about the difficulties in the middle because it's worth,
Yeah.
acknowledging.
So let's give that history. So Darkside and Tattoo Now grew well together, and the more you put into a bubble, eventually I guess it pops, and it popped for me. And I had to walk away. I had to walk away from, because of stuff going on in my own life, and personal issues that I had. It was too much, and it was a very dark time to walk away from all that and to kind of let people down, you especially, one of my best friends. But it was where I was at, and do I regret it? Not at all. At the time, it felt terrible. But I've come back to this and regrouped, and the me now and the dark side now. I wouldn't trade for that dark side in a second.
No, 100%. I mean, obviously,
Not to say those memories aren't some of the most fondest memories in my life, but as we grow up, we get I think a deeper sense of self and of purpose,
yeah, hopefully.
hopefully, right, if we survive it,
Right.
and in 2009, right, I met this woman who inspired me, and we were able
So
to.
sorry, just for a little context, right? So Dark Side was like cruising and growing, and the explosion was around 2000, right?
Five. 2005,
Okay.
2002 to 2005, it got
It
rocking.
took a long time. It was a behemoth. It was huge.
Yeah.
At its. I mean, I guess we might as well talk about it at its peak, right? Again, for context.
Okay.
So,
Well,
and I remember specifically. Maybe you wanted to back up just a little bit, but I remember when the magazine came out and it was all Dark Side artists. And
yes.
that was like, it must have been 2002 because it seemed like it was like 5 or 6 months into the horribleness, right? Into the explosions. And but it took a long time. It was a couple of years. But it's again, these things do have a life of their own, right? So like Dark Side, you're the
Yeah.
helm of it, but on the other hand, so that was 2000, and then as that so then 2005 is
Kind of
when
walked away.
yeah.
Walked away. And people say, like how do these huge rock stars like Kurt Cobain, like, and people like that, I get it. You know what I mean? I've kind of been there in a different way.
Yeah, you
But yeah,
bet.
so
Yeah.
2005 walked away. 2000, I went and I started working for a friend of mine on Meriden in a small street shop, and put my life back together. And then
That
where I
was
was
the
going before
transition.
that
I mean,
was,
like, was that the? I mean, was that the eye opener? Like, I guess it's worth talking about. And there's actually a couple of other shows, and there's a fair amount of artists in recovery. What at what point, like, was the? Oh, I guess you're about to get there. Is that's when you
yeah, I'm about to
met?
get,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah.
Okay,
So
I'll shut up.
2007, I'd had enough, man. I'd had enough of not going anywhere, of spinning my wheels and just going in circles, in a downward spiral, and decided I'm gonna put this back together, and got clean, and then, so I was saying before, so I met my wife, my like, she's like my best friend, she's my partner and everything, and in 2009 we met, and we were rebuilding together, and she inspired me a lot, and it was nice to have. I've never really had like a partner in life, you know what I mean, like that. And in 2010 we reopened Dark Side Tattoo in this, very close to where the first shop started in Fairhaven, in a shop probably about the same size as the shop in Fairhaven, this little place. And and I had that drive, man. I had that love for it again. And rebuilt, and as time went on, took on new artists that became family. You and I reconnected.
Yeah. Like it's been a long time. Because like I said, if it was 2002, it's been almost 18 years, right? Nearly 20 years. And, and there was enough time consistently, right? Like, so I remember I was thinking about it this morning. I'm like, man, it's funny because there's definitely a time in my life where I was like, there's no fucking, like, obviously this makes sense. Again, you registered TattooNOW.com, of course. And even I think even in its worst, I would probably always acquiesce the space because of stuff like that. Although, but like I said, all of a sudden over time, and again, part of it is just about being consistent, right? Like it's the roller coaster ride is rough, and I guess we're all trying to avoid it. But again, like I mean, as you know, whatever it was, for me, when I went on from that explosion, I was like, I remember specifically somebody saying like dark side couldn't ever happen again or something to that effect, and I was like, well, that couldn't ever happen again. But like I remember I remember the computer part of it, like, and but then, whatever it was, 15 years later, I was like, in my own fucking shit show explosion.
Yeah.
And, it's amazing. I tell, and I'm sure this is the same thing. You probably, it's like tattooing and that energy. And maybe it's not even just with tattooing, but tattooing is so jacked up that we even lowly, regular peasant types like ourselves can actually get a hold of this fucking, energy that could be into the millions sometimes.
Right.
And it's not easy to fucking, it's like almost like all of those weaknesses will get tested.
Yeah.
No matter which one it is. And, to kind of wrap up my thoughts, in the beginning, like you might just get attacked by something, naturally, coming out of the woods, right? Like, something's going to come out. You're not quite sure what it is, but it might be something. At some point, all of a sudden, the energy builds up to the point where it's like you become a target. People are like Dark Side Tattoo, Joey Cap and Nick Baxter, and blah, blah, all the people, blah, 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 all of a sudden it becomes the focal point of not only the good energy, but of all sorts of energies. And so then it shifts from like needing to protect yourself from like some of the random things that come out at you at nature to like everything that somebody might think of or devise to get in and to hit you. So it's in some ways you have to go through that ringer, I guess, maybe to be able to, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have to go through every experience we had before today to become who we are right now. And I like who I am right now, and I like where my business has come, where my life has come. I like the vision that our shop has now. I like the tightness, the family field, and not that I didn't have that before. Everyone that's been a part of this journey professionally, I'll always be grateful to, and always hold dear. And I don't share any animosity with any of the people who worked for me or with me before, which is nice. Not to say that it wasn't always that way, but it's nice to have come full circle on it and to, to be at peace with, you have to make peace with your past, your good and the bad, the mistakes you've made, and, and the triumphs. And, and I bring that into the shop today. I'm driven, and I'm usually the first there and mostly the last to leave. I like to lead by example. I like to inspire. Everyone that shows up every day that works at Dark Side Tattoo, I'm grateful to. They put their all in. They do great work, and they interact well. They leave, we care about each other. And there's a bunch of us are. And it's definitely a great experience, for the customers that come in. We have a beautiful, clean, big, airy shop, and we're often made comments of like, wow, this place is amazing, and wow, I've never been in a tattoo shop this clean, and you guys really take care of the customer, and things like that, man. It's priceless to to have people say that about you and your business. That was me and my wife decided we were gonna start this up again.
That must have been a crazy decision. I know how crazy it must have been. Like so it was years. You had all the history with everybody. Like, but you were like, fuck it, I'm doing it,
Yeah, I'm
and did
doing
you
it.
get support? Did you get pushback? Like, what was that like?
So I had gotten I'd gotten a lot of support from lifelong friends who were like, man, do this,
Mhm.
my wife was like, let's do this. And a part of me was like, it was weird. There was a time in this rebuilding process where if you asked me if I was going to name this shop Dark Side Tattoo again, I would be like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then there was a time with much more personal growth where if you asked me if you're going to name this Dark Side Tattoo again, I'd be like, there's no other name I would use. Because
Sure.
I guess you have to rebuild your own integrity before the world sees that, and now we're there. We're a big part of our community. We're a big part of the tattoo industry again.
Oh,
It's been a 12 years, I guess, since we've reopened, and we're the place everyone talks about again in town, and
sure.
and
And
love us, which is what matters.
obviously, as I was like, you're opening up a shop again. Okay, you're calling it Dark Side. Oh, okay. I mean, obviously, it's but it's fun to see it. Well, again, like you were saying, it's to settle into it again, to make it what it is now. It doesn't, again, to see what it is now.
Yeah.
And it took. I mean, it's not like it took. I don't mean it like it took a couple of years. I mean, after a couple of years for me looking in, it was like, okay, yeah, he is building a solid crew. And then I remember when like you picked up Dan, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. And yeah, and there's some of the other the people that are tattooing there, they're all getting really good. And then all of a sudden, like you said, I mean, and this is a testament to just how time flies. All of a sudden, it's like 10 years later, and I'm reading the news item that Darkside's doing NFTs. And I'm like, fucking Sean picking up the fucking computer geeky shit, right there. Boom. Okay, of course. And then again, you had a somewhat unique take, and I would encourage people to look it up. It's on one of the videos. We'll link to it. Where and I guess if you just go to darksidetattoo.com, I'm sure you could find out how to get the NFTs
Sure.
and what they're about. But yeah, no, it was fun to see that computer geek part get back into the spirit down there too.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Well, we are at oh, okay, we guess we have 10 more minutes, so we do have a little bit more time. Let me fire up some more tattooers here, because
Yeah,
you
what do
have
you want?
now. You're saying you have six full-time
So let's talk
tattooers.
about it. Yes. So
This is a Marissa.
that's
She's been with you a while.
Marissa Falanga. So she has been with us since day one in her career.
Actually, you know what? Let me okay, yeah.
She apprenticed with us, and that had to be God 10 years ago. I mean, she's just grown as an artist tremendously. And has her own little niche of artwork and clientele, and it's great to be a part of and see someone start at basically day one and become a successful professional artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
you know
And still there 10 years later is
yeah, yeah,
uh,
it's nice to have someone, and she's not the only one. There's so Dave was kind of the first artist. Dave Roche,
oh
his
yeah.
he started with me on day, it was just me, him, and my wife the day we opened. And and he and I have an interesting history. We didn't know it at the time, but we were next door neighbors when we were little kids, and his older brother was my first best friend.
Oh shit.
Crazy. Like, you look through all like my old photo albums of like my first birthdays, and his whole family's there. It's weird.
Awesome. Amazing.
Yeah. So he's been with me from day one, and a great friend. And we have an open air studio. Like, I never really liked closed rooms. I like it to be like a party, man. Like, everyone can just interact and inspire each other and break balls and have fun. And when it comes to breaking balls, like, he and I do that every day. It's our chemistry, and it's a riot. Like, people are like, man, we should do a reality show here because this place is just wild, you know.
But we could arrange that.
You know, then we have Cole Gridley, who you know worked with you
Yeah, yeah.
in Mass, and amazing artist.
Cool.
You
Yeah, I was
know,
really
like,
psyched to see him land there.
yeah, yeah, and I'm you know, I'm happy to see him stay because you know when he first hired you were like, oh, I hope he stays. You know, he's kind of a bounce around type of guy, and you know, he's a great artist, great dude, but yeah, he's family, and
You know,
you
it was one of those, like, sometimes, as you might imagine, people are like, you know, hey man, like, you know, could you send me some tattooers that you didn't hire? Because I'm sure that you're, you know, the tattooers you didn't hire are still good. And I'm like, what the fuck are you like? How like, there's no actual answer to that. Like, I don't even know what to say except for like that they didn't apply to your shop, like,
yeah,
right?
right.
And but he was one of the. I'm not saying that you. I have no idea. Like, but I just remember he was one of those artists where it was like, actually, I would recommend him, even though like it's not quite the right fit, or maybe he did work. I don't ever remember. You know, I got nuts there at that time.
Yes.
But I was happy to, like I said, it was like he was clearly in the right path, and I'm psyched. Yeah, this is fun. And the other Daniel too came up and worked at the shop a bit.
Oh yeah. So Daniel Adamczyk, he's fantastic, man. He worked in a few places, and we'd been friends for a while, and he did a couple guest spots, and you know, and he did one guest spot, and we're like, Dan, you're not leaving. We're not you leave, and he you know, he soon thereafter joined the crew, and you know, it's been a number of years now, and you know, he's definitely another one that like puts his all into every tattoo, to every day, you know, and shows up, and you know, and there early, stays late, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and just really a part of the family. You know, it's great to have all these different characters who are all very different people, but bring their own piece to the puzzle, so to speak, you know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
So
We
we
have
got next. So we've got Matt. So Matt, I have been friends with Matt for even longer than you, Gabe. Matt and I have been friends, God, 30 plus years, and he started tattooing and owned his first shop was Tasty Pain, Connecticut. I don't know if you ever remember that, but yeah.
Oh shit, sounds wicked familiar.
Yeah, it was in Hamden, in Mount Carmel, Hamden, and you know, and a number of years ago, we saw each other on a whim. Our kids ended up going to the same camp, and he had just moved back to Connecticut, and was like, you know, I'm thinking of tattooing. You know, obviously that's what I do. You got any room? And I'm like, man, I'd love to have you. You know, so Matt has since semi-retired from tattooing, but still comes in on a Sunday and does, like, you know, lifelong clients or people he's in the middle of stuff on, and you know, and it's great to still have him somewhat a part of the crew, even though you know, he's moved on a bit. Then you've got Nick. So Nick came to me when he was, God, I don't know, 17, 18 years old from South Carolina. It's like, man, I just want to work for your shop. And I moved him into my house and hired him. And, you know, and then, you know, he worked for me for a number of years. We lived together for a number of years, and obviously went our own separate ways for a long time. And then COVID happened, and you know, he decided, I don't want to reopen my shop and know all this rent. That doesn't make sense. I'd rather just come back and work for you. So he's been back now since then, and you know, he does great work, man.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, he's always been doing amazing tattoos, no doubt.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Then so we had one more.
Yeah, we've got yeah, I don't even remember how many people we have.
Manny.
So we have Manny. So Manny has been, I met Manny through Dan. And after meeting Manny, to know we have so many mutual close friends. You know, he also came. It's funny, we had hired him and talked about him working for us. And his start date was supposed to be whatever day it was, and then COVID happened and we had to close the shop, and he was supposed to start like the next week, right? So for like 3 months that we all didn't work, you know, I was like, man, you're still going to work like when we reopen. He's like, oh yeah. You know, so I was kind of nervous, and I'll tell you what, man, he's funny. He's a great artist. He's, you know, he's just, it wouldn't be the same without Manny there. You know what I mean? It's just
Nice.
he comes, he lights me up every day. He walks through the door, you know, and just to see him grow as an artist from, you know, the few years he's been here, and just the drive he has, you know, to put everything into his tattoos is, it's just awesome to see. Awesome
Nice.
to see.
Well,
And my wife's been the piercer since we reopened. She was actually taught by Jimmy Battistelli, who years ago, you know, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
And you know, she's been holding down the piercing and the management end of it. And you know, when you walk in my shop and it's gorgeous and it looks like, wow, this place is awesome, I give her all that credit because
we need to get some
she's
pictures
the
of that up
design
here, huh?
ball.
Speaking of, we should get some good pictures of the shop up here on the site.
We should get some good pictures up, hint, hint, of the shop up on the site. So
Oh, have you
I
been
will
sending them to
definitely
me?
get on that. Yeah, the shop pic section is definitely lacking. But there might be a few. Is there shop pictures up there?
I tried to find them. But
Yeah, I know.
okay.
Well, maybe the programming could be better.
We could go after it. It's been a little while. Well, actually, I think that I was probably like, yeah, sure, you could hop on TattooNOW, but you have to do it because I know that you're capable of doing it.
Yes, yes.
I might actually have, I do have some more cycles in the day though, and I'm happy to chat tech with you again because there are definitely, clearly there's there's some low hanging fruit. It's been a little while, but also we've been working a lot with client management tools and automated systems and the technology, as just keeps getting crazier and crazier. It's basically there's a lot of the same tools. You know how like when you're talking on the phone and you're like, oh man, I really could use a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, even though I'm a vegan, and the phone's like Philly cheesesteak sandwich and like starts advertising chili cheese.
Oh yeah.
And then like we can't do the audio, we can't tap into somebody's like phone thing, but like we could get the point is there's a lot of signals that people just have landing on pages and whatnot. And so mostly it means that, and because it's reinventing and guys at the direction, it's like we could not like try to sell shit to people that aren't interested in it. And we could help educate people the ways that they want to, right? Because we know, if you're interested in coil tattoo machines, for instance, then we can send you content based around coil tattoo machines and not, bother you with shit you don't care. Anyways, and the satisfied clients too. I mean, I'm sure that you email your mailing list and stuff. And I guess let's talk about that.
Let me just. I want to do a quick shout out to our receptionist Maddie, who we completely forgot in there.
Oh shit.
And
the support team is the support team. Without them, there's no support.
Yes. So she's been with us for a few years now, and she's holding it down. And her with my wife's guidance is will definitely handle. My wife and her have to handle the schedules of 7 full-time artists and who's got COVID positive and who has to cancel because they can't get out of work. And I definitely want to not talk, but at least acknowledge the work that goes into managing a tattoo shop, because it's not just all let me make pretty pictures. It's how do you possibly keep 7 full-time artists working every single day when half of their clients had contact with COVID and the other half can't get out of work and this one didn't show up. So I definitely acknowledge that team that we have there, because they really make it all happen for us artists.
Yeah, there's no, there might be some ways, but yeah, just seeing the trajectory of the shop for the last 12 years, it is a clear testament. It can't happen like that. Right. Well, and as we kind of have learned, like it can't be sustained if it's not deliberate, right? And that is one of the things that well, I guess I have to figure out what the next lesson is, right? Because part of Dark Side was like, it was amazing. It was out of, like you were saying, it's amazing. It's also really good to try to figure out, like you were saying, how to keep the good times, because there was a lot of good times, through the horrendous parts. And I sometimes I talk about that with my family and my daughter, like like all our trips to Europe when were awesome, when as part of our tattoo shop that then kind of hung, it didn't work out either. And but so there's like this like tinge of like the parts, but I guess and again, as we know, in time it just takes time sometimes, and we're only here for one shot. And I guess Charles, to your point, it helps you just kind of really rattle around what you're about, and there's collateral damage that's sad, but there's a lot that just had to happen. And, it's definitely helps me to see for sure. Although
I definitely think that
if I open anything up, it's not having the same name. Fuck that.
When you get to the point where you're content and you're happy and you're grateful, you realize that everything that happened up to that moment got you there. So it had to happen. Had to happen.
It's there are, and it's fun to, no, it's not fun. It's interesting and science fiction-y to be like, I remember hearing the advice, like it wasn't unavoidable.
Yeah.
I mean, it was clearly unavoidable.
Right.
Didn't avoid it.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like, if like I just remember key pieces of advice. It was like, if I had taken that, like, and again, what I was saying earlier, though, it would have been a different weakness.
Yes.
Potentially that would have been tested. And but anyways, whatever. It's all good. Like I said, it's amazing to see. And I'm really excited to see where you're kind of gonna to keep going from here, because now that okay, so as far as the shop is concerned and being busy, I imagine that you're still accepting clients with that many artists. You're always accepting.
We are accepting clients, and each artist definitely has a little bit more or different availability than the other. Some of us are booked up a year in advance. Some of us are a few months, and some days that you can just walk in there and the artist of your choice is free for the day. You never know. Sure. So if you're a client and interested, contact our reception desk, or go through the website, send an email, and we'll definitely do our best to get you in as soon as possible. Set you up with a consultation immediately, and get you talking about it, and go from there, really. Awesome. But it's doable. Yes, we're taking clients.
That's fun. I always loved being able to take walk-ins at like when you have, like, again, 7 slamming artists that are usually pretty busy, but there's always somebody that has a little bit of time, and then definitely, when the walk-ins come in, they're getting a slamming tattoo from somebody that might be booked out a year.
Right.
And it's fun. I remember there was it's fun. I do kind of miss being in the tattoo shops, but I really appreciate you taking the time, because I get to talk tattoos still. Yeah. And I'll definitely I'll pack up. I'll just pack up the computer, fuck the cameras. I'll get down and we'll like I said, I'll show you some of the geeky stuff we've got going on, and maybe over a pizza.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Cool. Well, anything else to add, or is there any?
Well, I think the only person I kind of left out is you, man. Just thank you for everything, and I'm glad that we still can do stuff like this.
Well, absolutely, and I can't be more grateful. Like I said, I would not be in the tattoo world if you weren't doing good tattoos and also understanding computers. I definitely remember that time where I was like, I remember you were tattooing the crow on my hand. You can tell me whether, I don't even know whether this is accurate. That's how I remember it. But you're tattooing the crow on my hand, and we had just started the website, and you're like, because we were going to trade. So I couldn't have, like, I remember I learned the lesson of lowballing on a tattoo, and then I was like, wait, I can't afford the tattoos that I want. Maybe I can trade out. And but yeah, you were like, I'll do this one on you, but these guys will, the birds, we'll have to charge a little bit of a session fee. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then the next time I came down, you're like, dude, people fucking are emailing and coming in to get tattooed because I see it on the website. I'm like, okay. And but it was amazing, like right from the get-go. But again, without you being like, yeah, sure, we'll do the computery stuff, and maybe it's because of your dad or whatever. Anyways, thank you, because I do thank you. I'm in the tattoo world because I can't fucking get out. I had my opportunity, and it was like, oh, this would be a perfect time to exit. But it was like, nah, man, you helped again put some of those really good initial lessons in too. So anyways, we'll continue to thank you. Well, let's catch up again in the real world.
You got it, brother.
IRL, as they say these days.
IRL.
Oh, wait. Okay, Dazzlink says it's been fun to watch this episode. I need to make some more time to be involved. Thanks. Have a great week. Oh, thank you, Dazzlink, for watching. Sean Collins says, hi, I'm a new tattoo artist. Good. Hi, everybody. Nate Heist says hi. Sean says his first tattoo was an 8-ball with blue flames. Fun. Let's see. Dazzling says, Sean, try the masked archer. Does that make any sense to you?
No.
Dazzling, Sean, Try the masked archer. Well, we've got like a minute to maybe clarify. Let me see if there's any other. Sean Nell says, well, says Kiff. I don't know what that means, but anyways. Well, thanks again for watching. I'll click some buttons. We'll get the podcast up. We'll share it around, and then yeah, we'll have to do it again at some point.